I'm Hiba Elias.
And I'm Chevon Drew.
And welcome to Momentum, a Race Forward podcast, where we explore how racial justice work
is showing up everywhere around us. Hiba, welcome back to Momentum, a Race Forward podcast.
Thank you for having me. No, just kidding. I'm excited to be back here with you, Chevon. It's been a while.
Yes. Season 2.
Season 2. Do you believe it?
Yes, I believe it because we did the work, girl. I'm tired and now I'm refreshed. So now I'm ready to jump back in. I took, a little bit of time off. So I'm excited to get back with you and let people know what's popping right now. Tell us what's going on with Facing Race.
So we're officially 2 months out from Facing Race. It's a lot of work being done on the back end, but I'm ecstatic. Tickets are on sale, but they're moving really, really fast. So if you guys haven't registered for the conference, please head over to the Facing Race website to purchase your tickets.
Yes. So Facing Race takes place this November 10th through the 12th, 2020. And you can visit facingrace.raceforward.org to check out how to register and to check out other opportunities and ways to get involved. So thank you, Hiba. I'm so excited that you are working to produce this as our conferences and convenings manager with your team. Love it.
I'm excited. I'm also just sitting with a lot of things that have been happening this week. Aside from planning Facing Race, life has been taking place.
You sound like you about to fight. Things have been going on.
No, things have definitely been going on. And it does make me want to fight, but not these things that are coming up. Well, a few of these things. So latest news, Kamala Harris.
Right. She has been selected and confirmed on Joe Biden's Democratic vice presidential ticket for the 2020 presidential election.
I just want to add some notes. Her Jamaican and Indian roots make her the first woman of color appointed to a presidential ticket by 2 main American political parties, Chevon. And this is just the 4th woman in the U.S. to be on that ticket. So it's a major, major win for Kamala. But there are a lot of feels out there. How do you feel?
I mean, you see my face. When I hear somebody say, oh, it's the 4th woman to be on a ticket for something in this country, I'll just be sitting here damn. So I would love to know what is going on. I'm bored with misogyny. I want it to be gone. I'm what do you mean the 4th woman? I'm sorry, what? I was about to mute my mic and just toss it across the room. What are we talking about? Because when we say the 1st, the 4th, the this, the that, it's not because there haven't been people who can do the work. That's the thing. So for me, I typically I really have concerns when people are telling me it's the first Black person on Vanity Fair magazine. It's the first Black person to do X, Y, or Z, or the first woman of color here or there, anything. I'm wow, you have to stop and really think about it and acknowledge that they just said the first and how as a country, folks really should be doing better and more to uplift the leadership of women. That's what I'm going to say first. And then I'll say also that I definitely, me, I'm inquisitive. That's why me and you are on this podcast, right? We're naturally inquisitive, talking to people and stuff like that. I asked a few different people in my circle and I'm just what are your feels? And someone responded to me and just said, she's a politician. I said, okay. I was anything else? No? Okay, well, thank you. So I'm just acknowledging all the different range of responses from people in my circle. People are definitely not all on the same page about what this means, but definitely it is historic in terms of identity to have a woman on the ticket in this way.
Sure. So, a lot of people feel like she can bring awareness to issues that are happening within the Black community. And one of those issues that I think has been on the front page, Kenosha. Kenosha has been, I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. That has taken a toll on me emotionally.
I mean, for me, with your transition from Kamala, honestly, I wanted to say that in looking at what's happening in Kenosha, honestly, it's striking, and I've seen conversations about it, and I would agree that it's striking to see that a former prosecutor is on the ticket right now when people are in the street demanding less of a carceral punishment-based approach to life and to justice in this country. I thought that was fascinating to see that at this time, that's when a prosecutor is on a ticket, and that at this time when there are these huge multiracial throngs of people in the streets demanding this kind of change, that the ticket that we just discussed is headed by a much older white man. I was like, this is really interesting just to see like what's happening with the people in the street and then what's happening at the, what some people call the elite political levels. And does it match what the current is in the street? So just something for folks to think about. I've seen people considering it and definitely were reading their thoughts and trying to like let it all sink in. Kenosha, to see, reports and video clips of someone getting shot in the back and front of their family. It's frankly, this is not new. So for me, it's become really a practice of figuring out how to do this work without overly traumatizing myself more than is already happening over the years, because the over policing is not new. So for me, I'm like, I don't want that for anybody, but I'm not going to act like this is new either. I need to actually have a response where I'm being careful about what I take in, because what I've noticed also is that there are folks out here who are not Black, by the way, and who are using violent images like that, where a Black person is being violently harmed and spreading it and saying, you have to see what's going on out here. I'm sorry. If y'all don't know already what's going on out here, we've been saying it. So I would love to know, what's the point of re-traumatizing people with the graphic? Like, there's no, you're not aware that this is going to be rolling up your timeline. Like, it's just in your face. I'm like, I think some folks are actually doing this because they like the attention they get. That's the feeling and the vibes that I get from some folks. So I just want to say that for me, I think that was horrifying to read that story. I think that people should really, like, non-Black people need to think very hard about why they want to share that type of violence, and understand that if it didn't move people with Emmett Till enough for this to stop happening, this type of from vigilantism from state actors to vigilantism from, people who have a gun and want to go take the lives of other people because they think that's something they should be allowed to do, militia members, this and that. If Emmett Till didn't stop it, and his mother did an open casket to try to so-called shock the conscience of people in this country, we're still here having the same discussion in many different ways. So I think that's what some of it brought to light for me, is just like, we should probably, as Black people, think about our own mental wellness right now as we continue to fight this fight.
And I'm glad that you touched base on that, because I feel like people need to hear this. I don't think it's a conversation that's being held as often as it should be. I know when this story came out, I've shared on my social media and letting folks know, like, hey, this is happening, but there's no need to keep resharing a Black body being potentially murdered. This is one of the stories where thankfully he did not die. And when I say he, I will state his name because folks need to know his name. Jacob Blake. He did not die. Spread the word, but no need to spread the images or the content.
I was going to also encourage people to take a look at Kenosha. Stop and think about that word. Stop and think about the places where this violence against Black people is happening. Stop and think about the word Kenosha, that to me, I'm going to go ahead on and say that sounds like a Native American word to me. Minnesota sounds like a Native American city to me. Think about the land we're on and how we got to this place where the violence that took the land is still going on for the people that have been forced to work the land. Like, really go digging and go look at a place like Kenosha. Go dig up the stats on Wisconsin. Go see who's most likely to be in poverty in these places. Go look up the racial segregation in Kenosha, in Wisconsin, in other cities in Wisconsin. Really dig into that. That's part of what also came up for me. So I'll leave you with a little bit of information then. NPR.org, a study published in July by Mark Levine, professor at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, laid out a sobering list of statistics about Black residents in that region. Quote, on almost all of the indicators from poverty to unemployment to general income to income inequality, incarceration, school segregation, Black Milwaukee ranked either the worst or next to the worst among the nation's 50 largest metropolitan areas. In fact, on most indicators that he looked at, the status of the Black community in Kenosha is actually slightly worse than even Milwaukee's. So this is what I'm talking about. I want people to go ahead and take a, dig deep and start seeing the patterns as to where police violence is allowed to proliferate, in which communities, and what are those communities already facing. So thanks for, bringing that up. And I'm sorry that it's taken such a toll on you. I know myself, I've had to take some time, and I continue to take time wherever I can on a weekly basis away from the work so that I can actually recharge and be able to continue to do this work long term. Right now, Black people in 2020 have been buffeted from the left and the right. The latest being Chadwick Boseman, his death from cancer.
The passing of Chadwick, it definitely hit home for me.
And I feel like we started the year this way, with Black people waking up and being like, who is gone, and we're continuing this way. And I know we're holding each other. And I just want to acknowledge this because Chadwick Boseman was doing so much work around producing Black films and then also, of course, acting in them, but also building out ways for other Black people to join in the industry and kind of like trying to leave a trail behind him so that other people can get their opportunity. So the loss is compounded, his family is taking a loss. His family takes a loss. The fans take a loss. And all of the work that he was doing, it still lives on, right? But we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that he's not going to be here to do some of it. So I just wanted to acknowledge and celebrate that this is a person who was very committed to the Black community and committed to using his influence and his resources to open up more doors for more Black people to be able to use arts and culture to tell their own stories and to build lives for themselves.
Co-actors and co-actresses, they didn't know. They had no clue. He didn't show a sign of his illness. And I feel like that takes so much strength. I know myself, when I'm feeling ill, I'll tell you, Chevon, like, hey, today's not a good day for me. I'm feeling XYZ. And you'll be like, girl, I got you. I understand. But for someone to hold that piece of information across many movies that he's created, and he's come across many folks, to me takes ultimate courage, ultimate strength, and it speaks to the kind of person he was, right? A lot of celebrities got on social media and shared their pieces and their experiences and their love for Chadwick. The Black Panther was one of the films that, to me, his character meant so much to Black boys across the world, not just in the US, but across the world. And I know that he represented the Black man in such an ideal way that people had no choice but to respect it. And his death also presumed a lesson. A lot of people learned a lesson from his death. The gist of that was to be kind, right? A lot of folks were really making harsh jokes on Chadwick's social media when he was still here with us, not knowing that this man was battling cancer. So with that said, I just want to give gratitude to Chadwick Boseman for the content that he's produced, the man that he was walking this earth, and much love to his family, to his wife. Lost for words. This one really, really shook me.
We are ready to transition into our interview with Blk Pod Collective.
Blk Pod Collective was created to fill the void of adequate representation for African Americans within the podcast industry. The collective provides support, visibility, and educational resources to ensure that our community has the tools needed to start, grow, and sustain their platforms. They do this by providing programs, workshops, events, and memberships that allow for the community to come together and grow. Ona is Blk Pod Collective's founder and chief creative officer. She created this organization as a result of her own need for community when developing her podcast in 2017. Ona's background in production and event management, tied with her passion for bringing other stories to life, allows for her to make sure that each event, program, and partnership strategically aligns with the needs of the collective.
Shenuopa is Blk Pod Collective's membership director. She is responsible for membership intake and support. Shenuopa focuses on ensuring the needs of members are put first, and Blk Pod Collective continuously aligns with brands that can help each member achieve their respective goals. Shenuopa's background as a podcaster, with her show, High Key Woke, allows her to speak directly to the needs of the members.
I think we're good. Welcome, Ona and Shenuopa. Y'all giving us this black melanin on this screen. You guys look amazing. Thank you guys for joining us.
I've turned the AC off so that way there's no background noise. So, if I'm sweating a little bit, just, go with it. It's a little high. I want you guys to have good audio, okay?
So we're looking, you all can't see, but we're looking at Ona's glow. We're looking at, Shenuopa with the high poof. So I like to give people a sense, I think Hiba right now with the top knot, which is her signature, and me with the half up, half down. So that's kind of like the look and the vibe right now. Okay, so everybody's super cute.
I want to open up the floor to get some details around who you guys are, where you guys are from, your upbringing. So I will start with Shenuopa.
The question about tell us about yourself. I'm always like, I don't even know what to say. I'll try. So again, my name is Shenuopa. I am originally from Zimbabwe, but I grew up in Indiana. Now live in Atlanta, so I have experiences from like different parts of the country. Lived in Chicago for a while, so a little bit of that. By profession, I work in the technology space, so I'm out here trying to knock down these walls and make it known for the Black folks. But it's been tough, to say the least. I would say, I guess I would not say, I'm going to say that I am one half of High Key Woke podcast, and our podcast is essentially about talking about issues in corporate America, politics, and culture that affect the Black experience. So right now, more than ever, has been a lot of what's been going on. And then I also support Blk Pod Collective on the membership side, and trying to do the best that I can for the sake of our 100+ members now at this point. So it's quite, I juggle a lot of things, but I'm quite content. So that's a little bit about myself.
Well, shout outs to everyone coming from the continent of Africa. Shout outs to you, Shenuopa. Thank you for joining us today. I really want to get into the details around some of the things that you mentioned. So I'm going to put a pause on the calls for that. But I really want Ona to introduce herself and let folks know who she is, where she's coming from, and a few, details about yourself that the audience could really get to know.
So as you guys know, my name is Ona Gogo, founder of Blk Pod Collective. By full-time job, I work in healthcare. So of course, that's super interesting right now and lots of fun. But along with that, event production, event management, which oddly is starting to pick back up with so many people going into virtual. So I'm stretching all of my skills right now. Along with that, I'm from Nigeria, have grown up in Atlanta for, I would say, my adult life has really been in Atlanta. I've lived in different places from New Jersey to Florida to Ohio. But overall, I usually try to say that I'm a person who likes to just enjoy myself, live life, and hope for the best.
Beautiful. First, I want to start off by saying that, Black women within the podcast industry is a very rare thing, but it is growing. So I applaud y'all for even creating a platform and a membership. So hats off to y'all. Let's get started.
Awesome. So one thing that I was thinking about and would love to hear from you both on is your personal journeys, right? So when I was looking at Blk Collective podcasts, like the episodes seem to be like so useful in terms of helping people to figure out how they can get started and get themselves set up. What about for folks who are interested in your personal journeys as to how you as two Black women got into podcasting? Is there an episode for that? Is there a vlog for that? Like, where does that story live?
So I'll kick off with that. That story is non-existent. So for me, I always say Blk Pod Collective isn't about me. So it's very intentional that you don't really see a lot of information about me out there because of the fact that I want the focus to be about our community. I think oftentimes people want to focus on the person who created the thing versus the thing itself. And so for me, it's very important that it's about our members. It's about the programs we put together. It's about the community we're building and not me as the individual, because I'm just one person. What really makes up Blk Pod Collective is the collective as a whole. So even the podcast, you notice it's hosted by various people. And that's because of the fact that those are the people in our community and not just you hearing from me all the time. I'm not opposed to sharing about myself. So of course, any interview I've done, I've shared a lot of information about me. But as far as on our platform as a whole, very rarely will you see that.
Well, I guess to come off the backs of that, again, when with Blk Pod Collective, try not to, make it about, me and, what I have going on, because it's definitely two separate entities which deserve, two separate platforms, of course. But for me, very briefly, how I got into podcasting was me and my friend. We worked together. One day I was just like, do you want to did you want to just do a podcast? There's a lot of things that we talk about together. And I think a lot of the things that we talk about, a lot of other people are talking about as well. And so that's really high level. And then we just kind of pivoted in. But in terms of my involvement with Blk Pod Collective, I wasn't there at the genesis. I came in after a couple months after it got started in April. And that was because I was, I like to say I was semi stalking the Instagram of Blk Pod Collective.
Just semi?
No, semi, sis.
Oh,
semi.
Okay. All right.
Semi.
You know, I'll take it. Hey, if that's the story, we're gonna stick to it. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
But yes, I was, peeping out Blk Pod Collective, and I was seeing what was going on, commenting on posts. They was talking about free tickets. I said, hey, I'm here. Me. Right here, pick me. And so I was going to a few of those events last year, and then I was able to get introduced to Ona when we went to Grace, a little more introduced, I would say, when we went to the Grace Hopper conference last year in Florida, and then from there, just kind of kept rolling and became what it is today. So wasn't there at the beginning, but I'm happy to see where it's going, because I've seen the growth in the last, maybe I came on around maybe October or so of last year. And so almost a year now. And so I'm seeing the growth and seeing how many people are being impacted and seeing how much knowledge is being given to our members, and not even, people who are non-members as well. They get a lot from the collective. So
that's awesome.
You basically hustled your way in.
Listen, you got to finesse.
Listen, I'm here for it. I really want to get into, I have a few questions for you, Shenuopa, in regards to the High Key Woke podcast. I was very intrigued by the reason you started this podcast. You shared briefly a little bit about it just now, but was there a personal experience that you had to undergo for you to be like, listen, people need to hear this?
Yes, so I think it's a combination of different things that had happened for myself and for my friend. We work for a very large consulting firm, and so when you are in these really big corporations, it's very, very hard for, as the Black person, to thrive, to move up, to get the support that you need. And so we see a lot of turnover in these places, and so it was just a combination of little things happening here and there. And she was my go-to person because we were friends in work and then outside of work too. So we're always telling each other, like, girl, this happened to me, girl, this happened to me. And then we're also talking about what's going on in our political environment right now. So it wasn't an isolated incident, but rather I would say little micro incidents that kind of ushered in the way of the podcast.
Awesome. Thank you. So the word micro stood out to me, like that it was the result of some things that had built up over time. Like, I feel like you're describing so many Black women's experience in corporate America right now. And I also was checking out your podcast, and I wonder if you could describe for us a little bit the format of the episodes for the listeners. For example, are they more storytelling based? Are they resource rich, comedic, or something in between?
Yeah, so a lot of them are interview style. So we have different people that come on, different I would say Black folks, because it's for the Black people. So Black professionals, Black mental health professionals, whatever the case may be. And they come on and they talk to us. We interview them and we talk to them about a certain issue at that time. So we've had a lot of mental health conversations. We've had a lot of things about, code switching or microaggressions. We've talked about that with a few people. So, and then the episodes when it's just the two of us, we're literally just keying it up. They can be research based. So it's a good mix of the interview as well as you get a lot of us, because it's important for the listeners to know who we are as co-hosts and our connection. So
Ona, I have a similar question for you. Did you have a personal experience that made you feel like, all right, I need to start this collective? I know that you mentioned that you needed to find your own community when you were starting your own podcast, but was there a specific experience, or was it just a matter of, I need more community, especially in this field, being that it's not many of us in this field?
A mixture, but I would actually say it probably boiled down to going to a specific event. So there was a big podcasting event, a group that will name unnamed that was already fairly large within the podcasting space here. And, I'm starting a podcast and I'm all excited and I'm like, oh, I want to go network with other people. I get there and I'm literally the only Black person. And, it's probably like 100 people there. So for it to be 100 people and I'm the only one, it was very uncomfortable to me. Not saying that, you can't interact correct, but I think it threw me off because at the time I didn't realize how of a white male dominated field that it was. And I don't think I had stopped to really research that. I hadn't looked into it. I knew I wanted to start a podcast. I was interested. I found a group, let me come to it. And so from that event, I started doing a lot more research. I started digging into like understanding the landscape a little bit better because I was like, oh, wait, is this for us? And from that, that's when I learned that there's, a lot of African Americans are not making it past the 3-year mark. We're not monetizing. We're burning out. We don't have the support. We cannot afford to really take our shows to that next level. And then I'm a person who I start going down rabbit holes. It's like, okay, then why? And then what about this? And what about that? And so I started talking to a few friends who had podcasts and I was like, I feel like there needs to be like an organization. And at the time, I think women of color podcasters already existed, but I'm very big on the fact that I don't think men and women can kind of exist in a silos. Like we really have to come together as a community. And I don't consider myself of color. I'm Black. Like I'm just Black, blackity, black. So I was just like, okay, well, there's no organization just for Black people. And a lot of my friends were like, you're good at like pulling people together. So just do the thing. And I was like, yeah, but I'm saying I need support. How can I be the one putting it together? And that's why we originally just started off with events, pulling other people who could give the knowledge. And you'll notice I'm rarely the one who's like up in front because of the fact that I'm still learning. There's a lot of things I've definitely learned over time, but I believe there's so many other people who can feed into it. And I think we can all learn from each other. And what I've definitely seen is that a lot of people want to give the information. They just didn't have a platform to share. And so I think that's what I've enjoyed most throughout this process is seeing how many people within our community, one, have knowledge, two, they're able to dispel that whole myth that Black people don't want to share because of the fact that we're worried about somebody else getting ahead. People are genuinely like, oh, sure, I would get on a podcast episode. I'll host a workshop. I'm ready to help the community, however.
Amazing. I know I mentioned this earlier and we also mentioned it in your intro. You do event management and event production. That's similar to what I do here at Race Forward. So I find the joy in convening folks as well. So I understand your passion. You were able to join both worlds. So you created an event called the Blk Podfest Micro Con, where you had over 500 attendees. Do you want to share a little bit more about how you joined both of your passions into one?
Actually, I just found out yesterday that we actually had 1,500 attendees. Just on my end, all I could see was 500. I found out that, so we were part of... I said, oh, wait a minute, Jesus. No, so we were actually a part of a larger event called Podfest Global Summit. And so we came on as a microcon. And so I wasn't able to see like all the numbers and we finally had our debrief and it was like, no, you had 1,500. And I was like, who? Me? But it really, Blk Podfest, and this is the crazy thing, when I bought the domain name for Blk Pod Collective, I bought the domain name for Blk Podfest. For me, it was always about, one, the community, but two, taking it a step further in the events. Because I work in the event space and I know these large events, people are paying $500-$600 for a ticket and it's really motivational and not educational. Like you're walking away, like I've gone to things and I'm like, pen and paper ready. And I'm like, they told me I could do it. What else? Was that it? Okay. And for me, I wanted something different. I wanted to where like our community actually walked away with actionable steps. They knew what they were getting and the speakers were trained, the speakers were properly prepped, and there were people who can actually teach you something. So that's where my event background comes into play because of the fact that I've planned so many of these. But of course, I never, I didn't get a say in who was chosen. I just did my job. And so it gave me that insight to be able to research speakers, research and understand what really needed to go into this. And we at Blk Pod Collective, we survey our members, we survey our attendees a lot. Like after every event, we're surveying them. So we have a good understanding of what they want. And from that, I was able to put together basically the lineup of the 3 big needs and then the 2 big conversations that were really for the white counterparts that were going to be joining, because Podfest is a, majority white platform, but I would say Chris is a ally. And so he's always willing to bring people into the fold. And so recognizing that sometimes I think within our community, we can just be talking to each other. And this is a playing field where not only us, but white people were going to be at. I was like, okay, I want to make sure we have panels where they could really understand and see what's taking place. So, as a Nigerian, I was super excited to have the panel on connecting with the diaspora. And we had someone she has Africa Podfest and Cairo Podfest, all the way down to changing the face of podcasting, of sharing what can be done to better this. Like, don't just ask us to speak, pay for us to consult, pay for us to be a part of your team. Like, I've seen people who their team for diversity is a white person. Like, how is that the diversity lead on your team? And so it was great conversation. It was interesting to see how many people, white, black, everybody in between, who really just enjoy the information.
What a blessing it is to join both of your passions and come out winning. Congratulations. That's a big win.
Can y'all tell us about the structure? So this is a similar question as before. Can you tell us about the structure of the episodes on Blk Pod Collective's podcast? What does it sound like? Is it informational? Tell the audience a little bit more about what to expect in each episode.
Sure. So Blk Pod Collective, how I say it, is a how-to podcast for podcasters. So it's really where we are teaching podcasters how to podcast. With that in mind, every episode has a different host, and it's not interview-based because of the fact that I wanted it to be right to the point. I want, for you to genuinely, I'm a person who I don't really like listening to podcasts that are longer than 25 minutes, maybe. These days, maybe 15. Just being honest. But because of that, I wanted it to be biteable content that you could literally sit down, get the information you need, and walk away. And so each episode, the one that just released on yesterday is Pinterest for podcasters. So many people don't recognize that there's an art to Pinterest. And so finding someone who that's what she does, she has clients and she builds platforms. I think she gets 20 million views on Pinterest. And so those type of things I think is important for our community. And so each episode is really giving you the format, the layout of how to start your podcast, how to grow it, monetize, and go from there.
Okay, so for Black people who have experienced in their corporate workspaces, for example, their work being devalued or extracted and then devalued, there's an imposter syndrome, they call it, that can come along with that, where people start to doubt themselves and doubt their ability to do something new or to start a new project. So I guess I've had people tell me things like that. And I just wonder, sometimes those are the actual people who are looking for the personal story of the founder because they're actually so scared to start that they're trying to find out how this person got the boldness to start while carrying the weight of those corporate racist microaggressions or being the only person in a space who's Black or having your work devalued and feeling down and feeling like you may not have the energy to start something new. So for those types of folks, it sounds like the podcast maybe is as straight to the point, you need to jump in with both feet, so to speak. You need to come to this with an attitude of I'm ready to start. Does that sound right? And is there advice for folks who have been gaslit in their careers and maybe feel a little hesitant or feel imposter syndrome about starting something on the side?
I feel like part of this is Shenuopa, so I'm gonna kick it over to you. I'm gonna pivot it to you. But honestly, I think I've never understood imposter syndrome, mainly because of the fact that I'm a person who, if I say I want to do it, I'm going to get it done, period. Whatever that entails, however you go about it, I just know most things come to me, I feel like, in my dreams from God. And so if 95% of things I woke up at 2:00 in the morning, I'm like, okay, Jesus, I see you. But I don't... I'm real deal but I don't know if I have time for that. Oh, you didn't ask me that. Okay, say less. So sorry. Excuse me. Who was I to tell you what I have time for? Okay, let me get my life together. And I say that because of the fact that something I always share with people is I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. So everything with me is I'm going to take I'm going to do it because of the fact that you just don't know what's going to happen in life. And so with that in mind, my mentality, and I had cancer at 16 and 17. So I grew up in a mentality of hey, you said we doing it. Hey, you saw me through everything else. We're going to get it done. So with that in mind, my mentality is just very much so okay, it's going to be hard. You're going to have moments with Blk Podfest. we had somebody transition off the team at the time. Shenuopa was super busy. So it was fun. And I'm happy it's over now.
So for those types of folks, it's not easy. That's enough, I would think, for you to be able to say that, even to just acknowledge that if you're feeling away, it isn't easy to start something new, but that you can do it. Does that sound?
100%. Because I'm also a person, I believe that we can do whatever. Like the same way little Timmy is told that he can take over the world, and the way that we can have an actor as a president, if he can wake up and be like, that's what I want to be, I too can wake up and say, that is what I want to do. So I definitely think that, you can do whatever you put your mind to. I think I want to pivot it over to Shenuopa because of the fact that I know her podcast as well as her platform speaks a lot towards that, especially in the workplace, especially in life. And so we come with different perspectives in that capacity, because for me, I'm just more of like, we got to get it done. I might cry about it later, but it's going to get done.
That's the realness that I think some of these folks are looking for. So thank you for acknowledging all of that. Shenuopa, do you have anything to add to that piece, or does that sound like?
No, I mean, that is absolutely sounds right. But also I think it's important for us to understand the different various levels, the different forms that imposter syndrome takes. So you mentioned imposter syndrome from the very beginning, where it's like, I want to do it, but I don't know how. But then there's also the imposter syndrome that happens when you're doing it. And then there's the imposter syndrome that happens after it's done and you're having to maintain this thing. So I think we have to understand the different forms that imposter syndrome takes, but then also in terms of, for me at least, what's worked, and for folks who I've seen around, and advice in terms of dealing with imposter syndrome, there's kind of a few points. One, you have to understand your why. You have to always be able to come back to your why at the end of the day. So if it's, you need to write it on your mirror, you need to tattoo it on you. I don't try to, but if you want to, if you need to tattoo it on you, you have to always come back and remember the why, because the why is the motivator to do it. And then ultimately, you just really need to do it, because there's a saying out there that says, you need do it, but just even if you do it scared, something like that is the word. So ultimately, you just have to do it and be set and remember your why, but also remembering that you yourself are unique, and the experience and the thing that you're trying to build, the place that you're trying to go, is going to always be unique to just you. And ultimately, your yes and your actually doing it may be impacting somebody else. There's other people on the other side of your yes. There's other people on the other side of you actually doing it. So imagine if Ona was like, oh yeah, I see the need, but I can't. Imagine with all these people, you're hearing about the 1,500 people, you're hearing about the members that we have. Imagine if she said no and she chose not to. Imagine the amount of people, we're talking about thousands now, the people that would not have benefited from the movement of Blk Pod Collective. So it's different aspects to it. But yeah, that's one of the things I feel very strongly about imposter syndrome, because I'm trying to tell you, they be trying me at the workplace.
Thank y'all so much. I didn't know we were going to church, but I'm glad. I have this little blazer on to keep me warm in church. Let me kick it back to you, Hiba, because I know we're in a moment right now in this country. So, I know you got something on your mind.
So being that we have been quarantined for over 5 months now, we're undergoing an entire pandemic. And I know many of the events and the engagements that you guys produced were all in-person events. How did you guys shift your engagements during this time, or shift the community to kind of still come together and build with one another during this time?
Oh, wow. I feel like you saying it out loud. I was like, 7 months, girl, what are you talking about? And you are actually correct. But no, so, it's interesting because we launched membership in January, and we've pretty much have grown membership throughout the pandemic. And I think that was a big concern. We had several meetings talking about, okay, how do we pivot from this? Because we went to Podfest, Shenuopa and I, in March. That was the last event. And, we had so many things planned out, but I can actually say that I won't say it's worked out, because Lord, it has not. But as a collective, we've still been able to grow. We've still been able to maintain and just go beyond. So one of the big things is growing over into, we launched workshops this year, and they're virtual because our members are not just in Atlanta. So it had been a request for a very long time. Like, people wanted us to create chapters in other cities. So that was the first request. Then the next was like, okay, for us who are interested, can we start doing virtual things? So this was the perfect opportunity to test that out. And so launching the virtual workshops with having membership, we were able to, have our member meetups, those type of things. And we have specific events just for members. So the experience hasn't really gone away. We have not done, like, we used to have panel discussions. I haven't done any, we haven't done anything like on Zoom panels or anything like that outside of Blk Podfest. Other than that, we haven't really dabbled in that so much because even I am getting kind of virtual event fatigue. And it could be because of the fact that I genuinely like in-person events. So it's like, it's just not the same. It's not the same feel no matter how much you try. As far as with COVID, I haven't really been quarantined. I work in healthcare. So for me, nothing has really changed. I get up and go to work every day. I never had a time where it was like, you are locked in the house. You cannot go anywhere. So for me, my life, my day-to-day is pretty much still the same. I get up, I go to work, I come home. I was always a homebody. So, there's that. Now I don't have an option. So some days I'm like, I don't think I like this as much as I used to. But finding other things to do. Like, I love going to the movies. I go to the drive-in movie theater instead. Like, you just find your ways around to kind of work through it. But I am that person who's still like not going out and about, because in Atlanta, I don't know if I think COVID has, I think we've been cured. Clearly it's gone. And so there's those elements. But as a person who works in healthcare, there's been challenging moments because of the fact that I manage a staff of people, and, it's also trying to help them through their emotions. And, they have kids. I don't have children. So virtual learning for my staff has honestly been some of my biggest concerns of trying to figure out how we meet the business needs while still trying to be there for your employees. And in healthcare, we don't close. We don't stop. There's no, you can work from home. That option is just not there. And I don't think people really stop to acknowledge that. A lot of people are like, virtual learning. But for the healthcare workers who they can't be at home with their kids, what's happening? So that's honestly, that has been my biggest thing.
So to add on to that, I would say the reason why we're seeing such what can I say? We're seeing Blk Pod Collective be in such a healthy space right now is because now, with everything that has slowed down and everything that has kind of like calmed down, people are more so like thinking like, okay, that podcast I've been meaning to start, that dream I've been meaning to do, maybe I should do it now, because we're seeing things they're just not steady. So it's like, now I need to invest more time into the things that make me happy, into my passion. So people are more inclined now to seek out those resources. And additionally, a good amount of our members don't live in Georgia. And so that's 100% a good amount don't live in Georgia. But I think a lot of them are finding that community feel, even though we can't be together. And a lot of them were not able to come to our in-person events, but now I think they like the fact that there's a lot of virtual stuff going on. So there's what can I say? They're invested, I could say, because there's that connection. So I think we're seeing the health of Blk Pod Collective, which is pretty steady right now, and actually increasing. So because of those two factors, in regards to myself and COVID, I don't play these games. So I have not been out like that. I've been limiting my outdoor activities. My career, we've pivoted to work at home. So I've been at home. In terms of like my health, I'm good. I actually had to take a COVID test the other day, because when I tell you I was so sick, I thought I was going to fall out. But I'm good though. Negative, I'm good. So, and then with the protests, I haven't been out either. In Atlanta, it's been crazy. So I haven't been out, but I've been finding ways to make my mark or be involved in the movement as much as possible, not being like on the very front lines, quote unquote. So that's kind of been my COVID time.
Yes. I was going to get on my Dame Dash and start asking y'all about ownership versus letting someone else fund your podcast, but I know we're getting close to time, Hiba, so I'm going to hold those questions for now.
Own your own stuff. Do a Patreon, let your audience be able to fund you. Do not wait for sponsors, because of the fact that sometimes sponsors don't see our value, and don't do affiliate links, because of the fact basically I'm promoting you and giving you brand recognition for free, when in actuality, I already know that my audience is amazing. So let your audience invest in you. Figure out how you can meet their needs and let them pay you versus waiting for somebody else to come give you money. But that's just mic drop real quick.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that Dame made his appearance. The energy of Dame was in the room. So thank you. I'm glad I mentioned that briefly.
I have a question for Shenuopa. You mentioned that the membership has grown significantly since we've been quarantined. Can you share with the audience how they can actually join the membership? I don't think we got into detail.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very easy to navigate here. Go to blkpodcollective.com. And there is a section for membership, and you can go in and explore and see what you get with membership. So, you get things like discounted tickets to our virtual events, exclusive member-only events. You get the chance to interact with other members. There's, that increased visibility. So there's several benefits to the membership. But also, if right now you're saying I want to be a part, I want to be involved with Blk Pod Collective, but I'm not sure about the membership side, you can still be involved. We have events for non-members as well all the time that are available to the public. There's several resources that get shared on Instagram for non-members. There's a newsletter you can subscribe to that you get all of the good information. So definitely do not feel discouraged if the membership route is not what you're looking for right now, but you still want to have some involvement with Blk Pod Collective.
Where can people follow Blk Pod Collective and any other platforms you have that you want people to follow?
So Blk Pod Collective can be followed at BLK. So oftentimes people are like, oh, I'm trying to find you guys. I can't find you. So that's the same for the website. It's BLK Pod Collective is for our Instagram. And we are actually launching a podcast full house production house called Pod House Media. So if you need assistance with your podcast production, that's everything from graphic design. If you want royalty-free music, we have somebody who's actually based in Nigeria who does like beats and all of it, so that way you don't have to worry about, is somebody going to come and sue me later? And so everything from helping you with show notes to consultations to editing at a much, much discounted rate, so you don't have to worry about that. So that's something that's launching on October 1st. And of course, you can always tune into the podcast to help you on your journey.
Yes, I love it. We don't see Hendel in the chat yet. But I know he's about to pop up in there. So, I'll be trying to stick in the last questions. I almost wanted to ask, how FUBU does your podcast and your kind of like philosophy get? Like, do you provide, are you going to start telling people where they can get podcast equipment from a Black owned audio store, or like Black creators, like giving them tips on Black owned podcast networks that they can join? Like, does it get that level of FUBU? Like, now we're going from Dame to LL.
Yes, it does, because of the fact that, so that's where our blog comes into play. A lot of our content writers, they do that research. They're digging all the way down, to see, okay, hey, this is something for you guys to think about. And so it's across the board. I think as we're looking at podcasting growing, there's still a lot of things where there aren't Black people who own a hosting platform, for example, and so those type of things, I think as time goes on, we want to be at that forefront to provide our community with that information. And that's the information you can find on the blog. And our membership isn't just for podcast creators, it's also for people who provide services for podcasters. And so there's a lot of people within our directory, which now sees about 5,000 views a month. Our directory alone, you have an opportunity to, one, be discovered more. A lot of people get more listenership just from having membership and being in the directory. We have some members who've never joined anything. They just want to be in the directory, and that's perfectly fine. But we have service providers, people who have podcast studios, offer engineering services that are in the directory directory as well, graphic designers. So you can utilize the directory as your one-stop shop for all of your podcasting needs to help you on your journey to work with Black creatives. Everything from product reviews to like they're literally testing out different mics so you can hear the different mic sounds, to helping you understand like your show format, seasonal, so on and so forth. And so I want to make sure I shout out our content team because they're super amazing and they've been with us like since the beginning. And they do this just from believing in the work that we do, and they take the time to do the research and everything like that. So they're greatly appreciated. Shout out to y'all, put that out there.
Oh, I love when Hendel is not looking in the chat and we get to stick in these other questions, because I feel like we did a really full show, and that maybe a lot of what we got into can go right ahead of the beginning where we were all getting on our feet here and like getting ready. So just yay. Thank y'all for the extra time and for telling everyone what's available, like fleshing out what's available and where to follow you.
Yes, Black Excellence. And we'll be sure to add all the links in our description for y'all to follow through. It's been a pleasure speaking with y'all.
Thank you guys for having us. I think this is the first time me and Shenuopa have done a podcast together. Hey, girl.
Yes, Ona.
All right, so now it's time for announcements. What do we have on deck this time? Let's see.
Facing Race. I'm going to keep plugging Facing Race until I see everyone that listens to us join us in the virtual realm. We will continuously plug Facing Race. I want to see all of you guys there, including you, Chevon. I would love to sit here and give you detail for detail, but that's giving up too much juice. So I really want folks to tap into our bonus episodes where we kind of got into the nitty gritty of what Facing Race is, what people can expect when they join us. And hopefully, y'all tap in and get that information. Yes. Also, one more thing. If you guys are attending, let us know why you're attending. Tag us on Instagram, tweet us, let us know why you're attending. But yes, see y'all there.
Okay, cool. So y'all check out the bonus episode and then let us know. You can tweet us, you can comment on Instagram or Facebook and let us know what you think of what you heard there. And definitely visit facingrace.raceforward.org to learn more and to register for the conference this November. So as we close out, please remember to follow us at Race Forward on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and also to subscribe and rate the Momentum podcast. You can find Momentum, a Race Forward podcast, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and even Google Play. So to find out more of the places where we are streaming, just visit raceforward.org. We really appreciate all of the thumbs up and all of the love you give us. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.